The Vyry VO4 is live. The team is heads down working on VO5, our network of colleges and students increasing by the day, and we released an updated manifesto reflecting the learnings of the past few months. Now, in this video, I want to focus on a specific part of the manifesto where we make a few pledges, and I want you to walk us through the why behind them. So these are the eight pledges. Let me go through one by each of them. Okay. So we design against passivity. We develop for interdependence. We make outside first class. We measure success by what users make together. We ensure data remains user owned. We privilege growth over convenience. We train AI to serve as a tool. We train AI ethical virtues, humility, and unity. So, I mean, all of these are quite fantastic, and also it makes me extremely curious as to why you chose these specific pledges instead of like anything else that you could have chosen, right? So, let me specifically ask you about three of them that I particularly found interesting. Let's focus on the first one. We design against passivity. Now, what does that mean exactly? What is passivity?
Let me actually zoom out a second and for the audience here, why actually pledges? Why does a startup need pledges? Why does a tech startup need pledges? Why does an I tech startup need pledges? And the reason for this line of reasoning and the specification of these questions is because we need to understand that we are at the point where the industry of tech is the global largest industry, or the industry that is dominating truly every single other industry. As a matter of fact, Romeo, right? All industries are no longer in their sub industry. Banking is no longer banking, agriculture is no longer agriculture, healthcare is no longer healthcare, but we are all in tech with a focus on. I'm in tech with a focus on banking. I'm in tech with a focus on agriculture. I'm in tech. Now, when you are in tech with a focus on helping human beings through technology and tools such as AI, this is for the very first time we are actually raising the importance and the weight, the impact that we are making on people. Who dominates and who leads minds, or who leads actually words, it dominates minds. Who is truly guiding and has the impact on words? It has the impact on minds, and we as a human being, we need to be aware of that. So no longer are we just building the excel that supports the human being to write something. No longer are we building the Zoom where you enter and you communicate with someone else, but now we are building companions. Okay, from within the next 60 months, the majority of the interactions that human being will have is with any form of AI, period, regardless if private or professional. It will be guiding us. It will be advising us. It will be the legal advisor. It will be the medical advisor. It will be the trusted, intimate advisor. It will the psychologist, right? Now let's go back to the pledge. Well, you as a human being, you need to know with what we are promising. You need to know what are you standing for. You need to have associations with actually tech providers where you understand the fundamental reasoning. You as a human being need to apply a critical thinking that understands the value behind every single company. Who is behind company XYZ? What's their mission? Who is the core team? What are indications of their motivations? Or actually, let me bring it to the point. What are their values? What are their values? Like the fact that we are using something but without knowing what the values are of how it's been of who is leading the company might actually be a risk. And I'm not here a doomer. I'm here to shake each and every one up and say, are my values associated, or are my values similar, congruent with the values of that company? And if not, do I use it? Again, who dominates the words dominates the mind. If I'm using it and the values are different, the probability of me shifting into something, right, that influences my mind against my values. So first of all, what values do you have, right? But that's a totally different chapter, right? Do you have values? Oh yeah, I have values. Well, do you live up to these values, right? So what is your virtue of living values, right? um, Very, very important, right? And then that leads to a tech company needing to have pledges. Meaning, you as a listener, if you don't align with these pledges, awesome, go to someone else, right? But if you align with these pledges, you align with the problem that we are solving it and with what we promise. And for as long as the founding team is there, these are the things that we have in our box, in our promise box, in our box that we deliver to you as a human being, to you as the next generation, because this is exactly our pledge. This is the reason why we have pledges, right? Now you asked me specific about the first ones, right, Romeo?
Yeah, exactly. More specifically, what we mean when we say we designed against passivity.
Okay, so I laid the fundament for why pledges, right? And now why we designed against passivity. Ladies and gentlemen, AI is not the enemy. I love AI, right? I mean, you see what it's doing. It is truly helping us in any already in 2020 since 2022, right? In any capacity, professionally, right? The question is, when is AI suffocating us as a human being? When is AI no longer helping us, but actually substituting us, right? Because that is the direction. And AI is not the enemy. AI is actually a helper for as long as we treat AI as a helper. If we don't treat AI as a helper, but if we outtask, outsource more and more activities, mental questions or physical activities, then we as a human species on Earth, we lose the capability of those things that we have outsourced to AI, and therefore lose the practice and therefore the muscle memory, physical memory, right? And then we become more passive. So if you don't run no more, if you don't read no more, if you don't write no more, if you don't think no more, if you don't cook no more, if you don't clean no more, if you don't work no more, if you yada 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 yada, well, you lose the capability. For that, you don't need AI. For that, this is common sense. Doesn't make sense. I want to pause here. Does it make sense so far? Now, AI is not the enemy. Passivity is the enemy because we're drifting into passivity. Now, if human being drifts into passivity, what you are actually losing is, the French say, raison d'être, the reason to be, meaning you as a human being, what is defined as a human being, what makes you as a human being, that is what we are losing, right? So, and so we are designing as a company, that is pledge number one, right, against passivity. We keep you in the loop. We keep you active. We keep you challenged. We keep you in there. We keep you doing things. We keep you actively involved in anything that is bespoke, fun, and creative for you as a human being to plug in into what you are, which is, someone who is creative and who does things, right? Does it make sense, Romeo? That's the first one.
Yeah, yeah, makes total sense. Okay, so the next one I want to ask you is we develop for interdependence. Walk me through that.
Um, we live in an era, and that has already begun, where we are hiding behind screens. Screen are have built loops that are so pleasant to us that make us more confident when we are behind screens, right? It makes us more uh, it makes us it when we are behind screen, it allows us to be also more aggressive, to be more outgoing. When we are behind screen, on social media, you're supposed to say things that you actually wouldn't say, right? When if you are in front of a person, if you are in a game, right, you allow yourself to cross verbally lines that you wouldn't cross if you are in a person, right? And that is actually leads to disrespecting one another, no longer understanding what it means when you are in front of people, no longer understanding the value of what it means being with people, no longer understanding how other people and the collaboration, the coexisting with other people are actually allowing to grow, right? And so what we design is for interdependence. Over the last years, most of the loops have been designed for isolation. Maybe I'm not judging this that this was the intent, but that is the experiment that has brought us to that very specific result. Social media, an endless scrolling of TikToks, feeds, right? That keeps us always our attention to what comes next, right? And this activities between me and the screen, and it leaves me alone, and I don't need anybody else to do that, so I am on my own doing it, so I am alone doing it, right? But if we are interdependent, we are now seeing the importance of what it means collaborating with others, being together with others, joining others, right? You'll have automatically more emotions. When you are with others, you have more emotion. Reflect on the last time you were doing some sports activity with a friend, you were eating with a friend, you were running with a friend, you were cooking with a friend, you were going to the beach with a friend, you were hiking with a friend. Was this better or worse when you do things alone? Well, Tommaso, this is common sense. Yeah, why are we not doing it? As a matter of fact, the tendency is for us, for the next generation, no longer to do it because they were raised in a different mode. They were made believe, Romeo, right, that the new way of socializing is in a game. And everyone is actually proud of saying that this is how I socialize. I'm playing. What do you mean you're socializing? Dude, that is not socializing. You are playing. You're actually distancing yourself and you're made believe that you're socializing. You're losing actually socialization skills. So we develop activities, right, by technology that actually help you understand the interdependency, meaning Romeo plus Tommaso equal value. Oh, wow. That is actually cool, right? Romeo plus equal fun. Oh, wow. That right. So, and that is exactly how what we pledge and what we do.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And the third point that I want to cover, you glossed over through it on the first question, on the first place that we spoke about, which is we train AI to serve as a tool, a concierge, not a companion. So what does that mean? To be a concierge but not a companion?
Um, the role as I mean, let's go back to first principles, right? What is AI here for, right? It supports you and it pleases you in everything that you actually say, right? So if we are seeing a wave, we have enough evidence already um, that whatever you are asking, it doesn't. The AI does not is not trained to actually guide you as a human being to do things that are aligned with true first principles of us as a human being. If you ask about the drugs, it specifies drugs and then asks you, should I tell you more about that? Instead of saying, hey, dude, drugs influence your mind and your mind will be in decline. If you ask about weapons, it will give you more about weapons instead of saying, well, education leads to less needs of weapons, right? And therefore we should maybe have a root cause assessment of why weapons in first world countries would be possibly as an option be less needed if we have a democratization of education. If you ask about treating something bad, it will guide you on how to continue following that purpose. That is how AI is trained. So what is a concierge? Let's shift a second now to the other page. A concierge is there but is non-invasive. A concierge is when you leave the hotel or are in a hotel or in a resort and it observes you. It understands you without actually being intrusive, right? A concierge, imagine it's noon and it looks at you on how you behave and what you wear. Oh, are they wearing swimming suits or are they wearing shirts? And what time is it? It's noon. Are they looking kind of confusing around? So, okay, they're seeking something and they don't want to go to the swimming pool. Why? Because they don't have swimming suits on. So why, hey, can I help you? May I help you? Right? The concierge is there and it reads you, right? It's not there to substitute what your intention is, right? But it guides you based on the circumstance in the direction that benefits that moment, right? So unlike AI right now that is here pre-trained and pre-built to substitute us, if we are not consciously aware of that, right? That's the reason why I say we are building AI that is trained based on AI ethics and based on behaviors that is always supporting you but never replacing you. It's always creating bespoke experiences but always keeping you in the loop. It's always there to make you foster community while you are at the center without overtaking it, right? And that goes back to the first question, right? Why pledges? You need to be aware and in the known as now as the next generation of entrepreneurs. Huh? What? Yeah, next generation of entrepreneurs. Being an entrepreneur that leads an AI company needs the next generation of entrepreneurs because no longer it's about being intelligent. No longer it's about you working 16 hours a week, 18 a day, 18 hours a day, because that's not enough. That's even too slow. It's not enough in terms of time. It's not enough in terms of intelligence. You need to have something that goes beyond it and it comes from within. And it has to do with the human spirit. It has to be really profound in you as a human being. You need to know what are the values that you want to convey, what are the values that you are following, what are the values that you want to impact humanity, right? In order for to have the evolution of human species. That's the reason why also in our pledges we say we are very well aware that we are against AI as a friend, right? But we embrace hashtag the human spirit, right? And we build technology that actually helps the next generation to embrace the human spirit while using AI, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's also what's behind the movement that we are starting on no hashtag no AI friends, right? Because they're not meant to be your friends. They're not meant to replace true friends, true human connection. So,
Well, the campuses are loving it, embracing it. We are handpicking a mission-oriented ambassadors on campus. East Coast, Central, and West Coast are truly growing in a very profound way, where we feel humbled, blessed, not just to do it for the next generation, but with the next generation. Especially, Romeo, we are seeing that this awareness, this especially going through this educational path of creating this awareness, right? How the next generation are embracing it, say, oh wow, I can make an impact, I can make a difference. And there are a few companies, right, that stand up to values and to pledges and to help really the human spirit and the human being, to remain what we the in essence what we are here on earth for, right? To be interdependent, to be respectful of each other, ultimately, really to build relationship and to care about each other, right? Rather than going into passivity.
yeah, yeah. So, VO4 is out. That's exciting. How can people join?
Go on the Vyry.world, sign up, a bunch of links there, stay in the loop, be part of the movement. If you're looking just for another app or technology, that's not it. You have enough on your phone, right? If you see something and you seek something that is mission oriented, right? A brand that represents values, right? And our values are always be outside, be together, and be playful. And for that, we build technologies, right? Where you are at the center. Join the movement. I'd love to learn with you. I love to go hand in hand with you, right? And let's create a future where really caring and human being are at the center. Let's make a point of it. Let's create that generation that is really leaning into these values.
Absolutely. See you in the fairy world.
I see you in the very well.